Metroid Month. Ah! Metroid Month! You know, someone once told me that I didn't have to do Metroid Month every year.
So I killed it.
What, crazy? Not do Metroid Month. Metroid Month is the best time of year. The quintessential Robtroid mark of excellence. It's where Eve and I fire on all cylinders to deliver some of the highest quality content that this channel has ever seen, right, Eve?
What's a Metroid? Is that guy from Smash Brothers with one arm?
Good one, Eve. Impersonating a high-powered Nintendo executive.
It's funny because they don't know who Samus is.
And speaking of not knowing anything about their own series, today we're going to be talking about what's shaping up to be the third worst game in the series, Metroid Prime Hunters. Though, all jokes aside, worst is a bit of an overstatement, and to be fair, there's nothing sort of offensively wrong about this game, it's just kinda there. I mean, it's always been that way too.
The story doesn't tarnish anything previously established, the narrative doesn't ruin our perceptions of any characters, so what's wrong with this game? We'll find out soon enough, but first, a little background. Around this time in Nintendo's collective lifespan, around 2005 to 6, they were pretty much on top of their game. They were consistently putting out great new products and games that stood toe-to-toe with the more hardware-driven contemporaries of the big three, being Sony and Microsoft. It used to be, in terms of what was popular at the time, that Microsoft and Sony offered better graphics and games targeted for an older, more mature audience, while Nintendo focused on having great games for all ages. And this, for the most part, was achieved.
In 2006, the Nintendo DS was actually still new technology, believe it or not. And even though I'm predisposed to not really care for handheld consoles, it's hard to deny that the DS has been one of the most innovative and, I guess, profitable fucking things. The series. Fuck. I still got the old one. It's hard to deny that the DS series was and has been hugely successful, and now even more so than their standalone home consoles.
This was back in the day where Nintendo would develop new tech and create games which actually demonstrated how the tech worked. And what better series to show off what would become the handheld for the following decade other than Metroid Prime? The other black sheep of the series was developed by Nintendo Software Technology in Redmond, Washington, pretty close to the area I grew up in, and not by Texas-based Retro Studios because they were too busy working on a real game which I don't think ever saw the light of day. What's cited is that NST developed the game instead of Nintendo themselves because they wanted the division to influence hunters with Western ideals, styles, and presentation. Seems kinda strange that this would be an influence on why they chose this division, especially considering how it's long been noted that Metroid is way more popular in the States than it is in Japan. It was always planned to be a standalone Metroid Prime title, but the main focus was on implementing multiplayer for the new Wi-Fi technology. That's right, new. This was 10 years ago, kids. Times were different.
So, did their efforts work? Did they flop? Only one way to find out. Well, two ways actually. One of them is being on Metacritic, but that's not very interesting to watch, and the alternative is doing a Let's Play, which is even less interesting to watch. Let's begin.
Beginning with the intro cinematic, it's great. It sets the tone very well for the game. In fact, one of the highlights of this game is the high quality cinematics, which really push the hardware for what the Nintendo DS could do. Each hunter has their own short clip, or vignette as I call it. Some of them are really lame, but some of them are pretty cool too. You guys ever notice how games in the last 6 years or so have sort of abandoned the intro cinematic? I think it's a shame because I've always enjoyed them. Intro cinematics are the first impressions of games, the chance to show you what the game will be like and get you excited to start playing. But I digress. On with the game. We start out not in our own Milky Way galaxy, but the unforgettable Tetra galaxy, where a strange transmission is received regarding the ultimate power. Samus, naturally, is assigned to investigate.
Placing this game in a neighboring galaxy was a good move because it helps distance it from the other Prime games and establishes it as its own standalone title. Though this does work to its detriment, however, because it does sever the connections that we had with any of the other Prime games in the known universe and canon. So it's hard to be invested at times when there's really no previous connection established in between any of the things happening here. It feels more like a spin-off than anything. At least it's a spin-off that actually has Samus in it!
We begin our journey in the Celestial Archives, and let me tell you, I never gave this game due credit for its atmosphere. It's good, damn good. Very isolating. In fact, 2 of the 4 explorable areas are abandoned space stations, which, as cliche as it may seem, is perfect for that lonely atmosphere, which makes it doubly as intense when you run into a hunter that you weren't expecting.
And speaking of the other hunters, let's talk about them.
Each hunter has their own backstory, which is a nice touch. There's Weevil, a cybernetic space pirate outlaw, Spire, the Rockman, Noxus, the obligatory ice guy, Trace, an insectoid, Candon, a genetically engineered super soldier, and of course Sylux, whom very little is known about other than that he's no fan of the Galactic Federation. I think it's cool that they fleshed out these side characters a bit. For example, Spire is searching for the ultimate power to Trace's ancestry, Trace is hoping to use it to ascend the Kraken species, and Sylux is just evil. Candon is the first hunter you fight, and pretty damn challenging. The enemy AI is always on the offensive, and combat is fast-paced.
So all that's well and good, but what about the story, Rob Troy? Rob Troy, you're the big picture guy, you're the story guy. Other M was the second worst game, fucking piece of shit, garbage, trash.
I think that first we should talk about the fact that the logbook entries are invisible to the combat visor. You need to go into scan visor to see them specifically. It seems like a nitpick, but you see, because in all the other Prime games, the scannable lore was pretty much clearly marked in some way, so you could see right away what was available in the room. Here, you have to throw up the scan visor every time you enter a new room, which in a game like this, which actually has less of a focus on story and exploration, you barely even use the scan visor to begin with. On top of that strange choice, you wouldn't really even need to scan much because most of the enemies can be quickly dispatched by just blasting the hell out of them with a weapon of your choosing. Whereas with the other primes, you would sometimes need to scan an enemy to figure out how best to eliminate it. Not much in this game can't just be taken care of with one of your litany of different beams.
That critique aside, let's digest the plot.
The Federation wants Samus to check out this ultimate power and retrieve it, because we all know how trustworthy they are, and if it's irretrievable, blow it up. Seems simple, but if it's gonna work, you gotta bust your ass! So it's similar to Echoes in that you need to collect keys, or octoliths, in order to open up the final world. Why do you need to open up the final world?
Well, I actually typed up what it said in the instruction booklet and then paraphrased it a little bit here, so you're gonna have to excuse me if I have to take a minute to look at my notes here. Alright, let's just fix my glasses and we'll take a look here. So, years ago, a comet hit the world of Alinos, which contained a creature named Goria that copied the cellular structure of the Olympics and destroyed their civilization. So the Olympics transformed themselves into focused telepathic energy that confined Goria into a seal sphere, which they placed in a giant ship called Oubliette, and launched it into a dimensional rift called the Infinity Void to be released only when 8 keys called Octoliths were assembled. Dude, that is the most metal thing I've ever heard in my fucking life. But let's think about that for a minute. You got the Antichrist, you lock him up, and then you have 8 keys to release him? Why even have the keys at all? Well, the door's shut. Eat the key, blow the safe, tie up the guard, or the other way around, however you want to do it. I mean, I don't really get it. Why would you want to open up the jail that is housing the Antichrist? 10 out of 10, best plot ever.
The other criticism I have is that other than the other hunters, there are only 2 bosses, just recycled with more weapons every new time. Okay, 3 if you count the mini bosses, the ever-inspired Fire Spawn and Arctic Spawn, which are just palette swapped to the same boss. Though this game is flawed, I did find myself enjoying the revisit of it. There are some pretty cool levels, like this one part where you float around outside the station, this part where you travel through these warps to a new section of the level, the part where you explore a broken down, malfunctioning section of the station, and this part where you go through an old science lab filled with growing mechanoids. It's pretty cool because you think they're gonna wake up and bust out, but they never do. Oh wait, yes they do!
And that's Metroid Prime Hunters. Is it a bad game? Nah. Is it a good game? Sure, but it's by no means a great game. But at least we can all agree that it's not as bad as Metroid Prime Federation Force.
So let me get this straight. You guys want us to continue working on Federation Force?
Hi, Joe-san. What's so hard to understand about that?
Do you guys not want to make any money?
This is about more than money, Joe-san. 2016 marks the 30-year anniversary of the Metroid series. This is about giving the fans what is due.
Well, I'm having a hard time understanding how this is giving the fans what's due. Mario got all kinds of crazy stuff for his 30-year anniversary. Legend of Zelda, yeah, okay. They got a whole book of the history of Hyrule and a touring orchestra playing the classic songs. I mean, I guess we could do a new Metroid Prime style game. Maybe another side scroller. Oh, I don't know, or How about a game with Samus in it?
I'm sorry, Joe, but the orders remain the same. Miyamoto-san wants Federation Force completed immediately.
Well, if that's what he wants, then I guess we'll have to do it.
Yokuduka Mashita Joe-san. Ship the game as soon as possible. Otsuka-sama.
Becky? Yeah, Becky. Yeah, cancel my butt massage appointment. Yeah, I don't need it anymore. Such a nice guy.
Phase 1 is now underway.
Hey everyone, it's me, Chip Roberts. I'm here on set. Thank you for watching my videos so much. I appreciate it. I hope that you participate in Metroid Month 2016 as well, because Metroid Month is the best time of year, as I said earlier. Duh. Hey, don't forget to subscribe. Send me your Metroid Month videos, send me your Metroid related videos, send me your comments, send me your naked pictures. Whoa, did he just say that? You're damn right I did.